My name's Ross Williams. I'm 28 years old, originally born in South Africa. I grew up in Yorkshire. When I was 7, I had a road traffic accident which left me with severe head and facial injuries. I was on a life support machine for 2 weeks and I stopped breathing or died twice. I was in hospital from October to January. When I came round, I'd lost my ability to talk and I didn't have my balance. I couldn't walk properly or anything, and it took a long time, but I got back to my normal self in the end. When I had my road accident, I was hit by the car along my chest, well, along my stomach, and I'd actually gone flying and I'd hit the bottom of my spine on the sort of corner of the curb, which left a minute fracture, and that has never healed. The doctors basically said, well, a few years ago now, I think it was when I was about 17, 18, they said we can't operate on that, but there's a 50-50 chance that you can end up in a wheelchair. So I just said I might as well just continue the way I am.
I met Ross when I very first started working in a support worker role, and that was probably 2005. So I've worked with Ross for nearly 10 years. When I first worked with him, he was in the Star College in education. So we would work together probably once or twice a week. And from leaving college, the role that I've taken on with Ross has increased and has been far more. There's been far more within the role that we've needed to do to support him in developing within his own life and confidence and abilities.
Well, when I first met James, he was working. It was a horse farm. I was still at college back then, and got into horses or riding horses through James initially, and it was mainly a big thing about my balance, if I could stay on the horse and stuff, and I was able to sort of gallop and trot and canter and things like that, and I stayed, and even jump. I did some jumping with the horse, Smarts I think the horse's name was. But yeah, I managed to stay on the horse, and so my balance has really improved.
Ross became involved in one of the very first Oxford groups, and it was during that he'd kind of mentioned his aspirations to wanting to climb Kilimanjaro. But his very first meeting was that there was something that he really wanted to do and knew that he would never be able to do it. So it was really then the next two and a half years working with Ross to change his perception on what his belief is, to having a kind of can-do attitude that actually if he really puts his mind to something, there's very little that isn't achievable for him. It took a long time for all of us within the Silverlining to encourage Ross and support him and enable him to see that actually with the right support and preparation it was achievable. It took us about 2 years to really prepare, and there was a lot of planning for making sure that we got the right route, making sure that we had all of the equipment and the kit that we needed, making sure that there wasn't going to be any problems with because of his brain injury, whether that was going to have a negative impact on his ability to climb, or whether the altitude would affect him. So there was a lot that we needed to prepare first. And I guess one of the biggest things to prepare was Ross himself, to ensure that he was as fit as he could be.
I wasn't going to come back down the mountain for anything. I had to get up there, and that was my thing. I wasn't doing it for me, I wasn't doing it for anyone in particular. I was doing it for the charity. Well, I climbed Kilimanjaro to raise money for cancer research. I managed to raise £6,400, but the main reasons was my mum and my dad was watching me do that, and they was pushing me on and stuff. So, and I could imagine exactly what my parents would be saying to me if they was there with me, and how pleased they would be. It was one of the hardest things I've ever had to do, and someone asked me, would you do it again? And I said, without a shadow of a doubt, I'll be there tomorrow if you could get me there. So
Ross has always felt that he's not able to achieve something. Actually, managing to achieve Kilimanjaro has been the biggest turning point in his life, and has given him the biggest push to actually self-belief that he can achieve. And therefore, because of that, Ross is now looking at starting to work. He's looking at getting a small job, which is again something that he thought was never going to be possible because of his injury. And he also wants to continue fundraising and continue attempting challenges. So he has spoken about the Great Wall of China. He's also spoken about the Avenue of the Volcanoes in South America that he wants to do as another altitude climbing challenge.
it's been difficult, every day has, but that's what it's about. It's a challenge, and every challenge that is put in front of me, I see through to the end. And that's why I like the t-shirt, determination, on the back of it, because I will be determined to see any challenge through to the end, no matter what. The doctors said to my mother at the time they didn't think I'd ever be able to walk or be ambulant again. They thought I'd be in a wheelchair for the rest of my life. And when I got on to the top of Mount Kilimanjaro, I sort of just remembered everything they said, that I'd never walk again or anything physically difficult I wouldn't be able to do. But I got to the top of Kilimanjaro and basically saying I proved you wrong in a way.